Okay. Well, good morning, everybody who is here. Welcome to the Master of Molecular Medicine and Innovative Treatments, or in short, as we all know it, MMIT. My name is Sven van Ijzendoorn, and I am one of the course coordinators in this program and involved in this program. So before I start, I want to let you know that if you, in case you have any questions, we have a Q&A session at the end of this meeting. And in the meantime, you can also enter your questions in the chat, and that we will address them at the end during the Q&A session. MMIT, the Molecular Medicine and Innovative Treatment Master, what does it has to offer for you? So we aim, so we will train you in acquiring expert knowledge in diseases, in emerging medical challenges, and the underlying biology. We will also train you in acquiring knowledge on current state-of-the-art experimental technologies, and that is not only knowing that these exist, but also that you learn how to use them. So you get hands-on experience with using these experimental technologies. And third, what we will train you is to use this biology and these technologies to develop new innovative therapies and treatments for diseases. So in the end, we hope that we can train you to become a person who is able to, for example, find ways to regenerate spinal cords, to find drugs or ways to deliver drugs in a smart way to treat inflammatory bowel diseases, or perhaps to develop nanovaccines for cancer immunotherapy. And to achieve this, we have a unique approach, and that approach includes mostly that we have a multidisciplinary curriculum. If you work with biology, if you work with technology, and if you work with medicine, that means that we have teachers from all these disciplines that will teach you the challenges that each of them faces. And our goal is to make you understand the different languages that these people speak and to bring them together. We do this using interactive learning. We are not we don't work by repeating and memorizing textbook, but we work by working with real world problems. So we work mostly in small groups, in interactive settings, where with students of 4 or 5 or 6, you work on different assignments throughout the program. And because we work with such small groups, that allows us to almost give you individual guidance by top-level researchers in our institutes. And we have many top-level researchers in our institutes, and I just want to introduce 4 of them. The first one I want to introduce is Professor Dr. Siska Wijmega. She's a geneticist, and she is an expert on genomics. And genomics is one of these fields that is progressively developing in the last years, but also in the coming years. And also, genomics has sort of become an inherent part of diagnostics, but also of innovative treatments. The second research I want to introduce is Professor Peter van der Meer, who is an experimental cardiologist, and he is an expert in bringing his basic science and towards the clinic, so translational medicine. And the third is Professor Dr. Iris Sommer, and Iris Sommer is a psychiatrist, and Iris is very much interested in the gut-brain axis. How does diet, how does the microbiome in your gut, how does it influence your mental well-being? And especially, very importantly, what is the underlying biology of that? And fourth is Professor Dr. Rob Koppes, who is a cell biologist, a stem cell biologist, and he has spent many years in trying to see how you can make stem cells, how to turn them into mini organs or organoids. And he succeeded in that, and now is using these mini organs in regenerative medicine. And so these are just 4, but we have, of course, many more high-level researchers that participate in our program. This slide shows you a number of titles of research projects that MMIT students have performed in the past. And there are many. You don't need to read them all, but I just want to highlight a few just to illustrate that these projects, they go from very basic fundamental science to large data science like multi-omics, epigenomics, but also with patient cohorts, all the way to technology development, such as cancer on the chip models or a new generation of RNA-based vaccine technologies. So just to illustrate that the research projects that you do in our program covers a very broad range of topics, from basic science all the way to the clinic. So in addition to not only gathering a lot of knowledge, what we find very important is that you that you become an MMIT expert. And that basically means that you don't only have deep knowledge of all these things, but you also have the skill set to become a high quality researcher, and that you are being trained to collaborate and to communicate. And that is very important in such a multidisciplinary setting. And we also train you to become a true professional in your field. We also realize that each of you here have your own interests and your own ambitions. And we offer different focus areas or specializations that you can follow. So you can follow your own path. And we have specializations in oncology, in neuroscience, in infection and immunity, in metabolic diseases, in systems medicine, as well as in drugs and devices. And you can, if you want, it is not obligatory, but you have the choice to follow one of these paths. And if you earn, and you can do that through electives and research projects, and if you earn enough ECTS in such a specialization, you can also have that specialization mentioned on your diploma. But again, it's not obligatory. You can, if you're truly into oncology, you can follow oncology. But if you're not sure, or if you're interested in everything, you can just follow everything. That is all up to you. So you can follow your own path. Also within the MMIT program, we have an innovative medicine track, and that is especially meant for students who are interested in becoming an entrepreneur, students who want to learn how to bring research from idea to market, and students who want to interact with industry and entrepreneurs during their studies. And if you are such a student who has this interest, you can follow this track, and we'll train you how to develop your entrepreneurial attitude. We'll train you how to use your knowledge and transform that into a business plan, and also teach you how to pitch your business plan. So entrepreneurship is an additional skill set that we add to the ones that I already mentioned. I think finally what I want to mention is that the MMIT program is a close-knit international cohort. And we have currently in our current cohort has 27 students, and they come from 14 different nationalities, and they come from basically all continents of the world. And we have per year, we have a maximum of 35 students that we allow and recruit into the program. And this close-knit international cohort, it offers, in our opinion, an enhanced learning experience, because it allows you to be exposed to different learning styles. It exposes you to different approaches to problem solving, and from a personal growth perspective, it promotes open-mindedness, it promotes tolerance, and it promotes adaptability. And these are all key skills that you need in today's interconnected world. So here I would like to stop for a while and give the word to two of our students, Niharika and Rita, who will tell you something about their experiences in the program so far. So Niharika and Rita.
Thank you, Sven. So I'm currently a second year MMIT student, and I'm doing my research project too at the moment. And I would be giving you a aspect of how the whole degree is for me. So Rita is a general track student. She has done her bachelor's from Barcelona, and I have done my bachelor's in biotech from India. And we all started with the application for this program I started in the month of December, January, and I think the application process is a little different right now. But for the first stages, we all have to make a StudyLink account and then make our CVs, results, application form, and then two motivation letters. And there were two rounds, if I remember properly. And the first round was based on all the application documents you submit. You were selected for the second round, and the second round you had to choose a research article. They would give you two choices, and you choose one, and you give a journal club presentation, and you give your presentation for the project that you've done in your bachelor's. So based on that, you would be given a position to become an MMIT student or not. So I would say the interviews were quite nerve-wracking for me because there was a very big time difference, and my presentation was at 8 p.m. I remember I could not do anything the whole day. I was just very tensed about it. But once the presentation began, it was quite nice because it did not feel quite stressed with the two professors who were grading me. So it was quite nice. So I would say when you're preparing the presentation for these interviews, please make it straightforward. Please try to include the main parts of the paper and try to be direct. The MMIT office is looking for enthusiasm, is looking for how you can interpret the data well. I think Rita is back again. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, I was having some trouble. Is it working now?
Yeah, it's working. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Not much. I just wanted to mention for me, for example, it was slightly different for the application because I come from a bachelor that is really kind of far away from the topic. I studied nanotechnology, so it really had nothing to do. I was more working in like quantum physics stuff before I joined the program, but I was very interested. So again, highlight what Niharika said, like what they're looking, it's not that you make the perfect presentation concept-wise. For me, it required quite some preparation. The paper I was sent, for example, it was an immunology paper. I had no idea about anything related to immunology at the moment. But I think if you prepare well and really know what you want to say and show that you're interested and willing to learn, you will make some mistakes for sure. I'm sure I said some stuff that was very wrong in the interview, but still, I think if you show you're really motivated to work for the program because it will be demanding, I think that's something that is also taken into account. But just, yeah, know that round, I think requires a bit of preparation, but for the rest, it's quite straightforward, I would say.
Yeah, I agree to that.
Let's see. Then a little bit about everything that is done in the program. I would say it's a very, like there's a lot of variety during the program. You're not like taking 2 years that are really the same, just courses. It's very different, which is something very nice. At the beginning, we really start with some theoretical courses, but it's not the standard idea we have maybe from the bachelor, where you just get a lecture about something and it's really learning the concepts, but it's more about the research that is going on at the institute. So that's something that is super nice because you hear researchers talking about what they do, and it's not that much learning this for an exam and learning all the details, but really listening to how they develop their research and being able to ask any questions that pop up in your mind. So it's something very open and very interesting that, of course, is made together with some assignments, which is something that might get a bit stressful at the beginning, not to lie, but it's also super nice because it's weekly assignments, so it's very intense week, but then also that week that gives you the weekend more kind of free before the next assignment starts, and that's a good break, I think. For us, it was really helpful. We could do a lot of stuff in between, but also we worked very hard during the weeks, so it's a bit of a balance. But I would say that's how the first half of the year looks like in the first year. And then the second half is already your first research project, which is super nice that in the first year you already are working in a group and just having the chance to really do some research in the topic you like the most. So that's something that is super nice. And then at the end, you have the chance to already write your capital selecta. So that's also the chance to dive into a different topic from your research project, more in a theoretical way, let's say, but also trying to find open questions in the field and developing some new ideas. So it's also something interesting to discover new topics.
Yeah, the capital selector is basically like the case study that is given in the presentation. So you even have an option to extend your research project one just so that because sometimes what happens, you're not able to end it. Well, Rita had an extension as well, so there is also flexibility that you could do your capita in the beginning of the second year along with your elective courses. So that's nice. And I also like the fact that the research project one needs to be done at UMCG. So it gives you a chance to get to know UMCG better. And plus, if you have any problems, you can just contact the MMIT office or just walk into Mike's office and ask for solutions or talk out your problems, because both Rita and I had some issues in the project, in the first research project, which was resolved by them. So that was quite nice. Plus, we also have mentors assigned to us. So we also have mentor meetings before the beginning of the project. So it's quite nice to actually say it out loud what you want out of a project, or what you should expect out of a project, which is really, really nice. And for the second year, the elective courses are based on whatever you want to pursue. So right now I'm not pursuing any track, so I'm a general track student. So I went for electives such as metabolism and big data analysis. So it completely depends on you. I just wanted to start giving exams again, so I chose a course that had exams in it. But there are also courses that has a lot of presentation, a lot of review work, and a lot of lab work as well. So you have like, you can choose whatever you want. And for the second research project, we were lucky enough to have reached out to the labs abroad. And the lab, it's like on the first year we send out emails to the labs that we're interested abroad, and based on the availability in the abroad lab, they let you in. So right now Rita is in Munich and I'm in Oxford, and we'll be presenting our project work shortly.
Yeah, maybe something we forgot to mention that is also important, I think, about the courses. So there's a parallel course that runs parallel to all of that. That is the Fit for Practice course. That is also an interesting concept because, for example, I didn't have that in my bachelor, but it's really also giving some support and some space to talk about your problems, or maybe realize yourself what's your next step, what you want to do. So that's something that is super nice while you're developing new ideas, because when you start your project, you meet a lot of people, you see a lot of PhD students in your environment, and you're like wondering, well, do I want to do this? Do I not? So in that space, you can talk about it with your classmates, which is super nice. And also these extra workshops that are organized are also a chance to really dive a little bit deeper into your own ideas or priorities, but just guided by someone who knows how this works. So that's something very nice about the program, that also lets you like grow in that way and find your way apart from what is really the lectures and the courses, I would say. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. But yeah, for the research project, we just wanted to give a small overview, so you have a bit of an idea what can be done, for example. So for me, for my first research project, what I wanted to do is was try to combine my expertise from my bachelor and also what I was learning in the master's. So I found this very interesting project in the targeted delivery with nanomedicine group run by Professor Inge Zuhorn, where we were using a blood-brain barrier model, an in vitro model. So for me, that was a first experience with cell culture, which was super nice to learn the techniques. And then we were trying to study transport in that model. So eventually we were also using nanoparticles, which is something was also related to my field. So I found it super interesting. And I just wanted to mention, yeah, there's this opportunity to learn some techniques that you maybe want to learn, which is always nice. But it's also nice to be part of, for example, a big department. So this group is in the biomedical engineering department, and it's really a super big group, super international. So we were doing a lot of things also outside the lab with other students. And that's also something that I think is important and part of the project. And even I got the opportunity to present my results in a poster in a conference in Uppsala in June at the end of the project, which was also super nice. I did eventually get an extension to finish the project because otherwise I had no time. But that also, yeah, allowed me to go there and present my results and talk to a lot of other researchers, which was super, super enriching. So that was super nice. And then actually from from that, oh yeah, thank you. From that, I found my second research project. So it was in the conference that I met like a PI that I found was doing super interesting research in Munich, and I talked to him at the conference, and I mentioned I wanted to do a second research project the following year, and that's how I ended up here in Munich. So I'm still working on neuroscience, but now it's a bit different because I'm working mostly on stroke, and also I'm using induced pluripotent stem cells, which is a completely different technique, and also some gene editing. So I'm learning a lot of new techniques, which is very nice, and it's a very small group, so they really have their own project, their own. So it's, yeah, I have a lot of independence as well, but still I have the chance to be abroad and discover a new city, a new landscape, which is super nice for me. So I would say, yeah, this contrast between staying 1 year in the Netherlands and then pursuing your interests abroad is also super, super nice.
Yeah, I do absolutely agree to that. So from my first research project was based on the speed dating sessions that we had every Friday to find the research that you really want. Because for me, I wasn't really sure what I'm looking for. So for me, I use the elimination technique. Oh, I'm like, okay, immunology is not for me. Okay, this research is not for me. And then we had the professor, the postdoc from the experimental cardiology department come for the speed dating session, and I'm like, yeah, the tissues look really cool. I would really like to do a project in it. So my first research project was on doxorubicin induced cardiotoxicity in Peter van der Meer labs. And the first image, as you can see, the pink things on the Petri dishes are the tissues that we made, and it's like the immunostaining image. And I was responsible to make the protocol for Ouroboros. Like you can see the machine there. It looks very, very old, but it's quite nice to know the mitochondrial respiration. So my project revolved around a lot of mitochondria work and a lot of cell culture, which was good because I've never done cells before. Like for me, it was quite hectic in the beginning because there's so many. There are different reagents, different. You can't put them in water baths, and you have to keep in mind of the sterilized conditions. But at the end, I would say it was a very fruitful project because I also took a lot of time to analyze my results and to make sure that I finished the project on time, because I really wanted to take those 2 elective courses in my second year. So I really did not want to extend my research project one. So there is a week in our cohort where we get to do a model organism week. So there we can choose between earthworm, Drosophila, and zebrafish. So I chose Drosophila and zebrafish, and since then I'm in love with the zebrafish model. But in my first research project, I had no option to have a zebrafish model in my project. So I looked abroad. I looked at projects abroad that had zebrafish in it. Also, I would also want to focus on cardiovascular side of it. So all the cardiovascular labs having zebrafish model, and I ended up mailing a lot of professors, but based on the recommendation given by the experimental cardiology department, I got this project here in Oxford. So I'm currently working with Professor Sara Diwal, and her lab especially focuses on the regulators that that sees like the arterial transformation and the vein transformation. So right now, today I'll be running a lot of gels, but right now I'm busy with enhancer cloning and imaging of zebrafishes. And a good part about coming abroad is like the system in every country is quite different. So since I have an Indian passport, I also had to apply visa to come here. So it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of questions where you have to like, do I really want to do this? But at the end of the day, it's quite useful to like get out of your comfort zone, because yeah, I like my room in Groningen, I like the labs in UMCT as well, but it was the safe space where I could experiment and look at different labs. And lastly, here we have the concept of formal dinners, which is quite nice because Costas, a DPhil student in our lab, invited me to one of them. So this is like a formal dinner at St. John's College. So it's a good environment to meet other people, especially people studying in Oxford, and see how far they've come. So on the formal dinner, I was sitting in a table with like people from Australia, New Zealand, and I'm like, okay, doing very interesting archaeological projects. So then I really got an essence, okay, there can be way more than just the biology stuff that we do. Yeah, so far the experience has been good, and I even went back to playing cricket. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture yet because the season hasn't begun. But yeah, it's a good experience to come abroad. I would definitely ask everyone to apply for projects abroad because I feel like it's the safe space to experiment for the 6 months. Moving forward, we have some pictures from all the group outings that we had, and I think Rita and I are most happy about the Barcelona picture that we've put up from Utrecht station. So that was our first match together, and yeah, there are a few pictures of us having food outside, Halloween celebration, and that is the zebrafish facility. Actually, we were taken there in batches. And I missed the trip to Bremen. If you can spot Rita in there, it's in the
I
big
am there.
yeah, and our first trip together was to Berlin, right? The
Mhm.
third
Yeah.
picture counts. Yeah, it is a very interesting cohort, and for us, I think we are from 21 different countries, so it's quite international. And as you can see, the amount of food we have on the table, the room was small enough to accommodate all of us. But yeah, it's been a really nice journey so far.
Yes, definitely. And I think just hold your questions because I think we're having questions at the end. So if
Yeah,
you have anything to ask us, we're very happy to answer, but not yet. Thank you.
thank you.
So thank you very much, Niharika and Rita, for your wonderful stories. And I can, if you think here, students, if you think this is a master that perhaps is also something that I would like to do, well, the first thing you would have to do is, of course, to apply and for admission. And a question that you may have is, what sort of background do I need to enter in this program? And actually, the background can be very diverse. If you have a background in biology or biomedical engineering, it can be medicine, pharmacy, life science, technology, or anything that is related to it, you're very welcome to join the program. Because as this is a very multidisciplinary master, we actually encourage people from different backgrounds to apply to our program. Because I think if we have, and we strive to have students in our cohorts that come from different programs, so you can learn to talk to each other and you can learn from each other, and that's a very nice experience. So any of these backgrounds is good to join the program. So if you want to join the program, so you have to apply. So you have to apply before April the 1st. And after that, what happens is that we'll check eligibility. The admission committee of the program will check eligibility of applicants. And from those eligible students, there will be a selection for asked to come for interview online. And in this interview, you'll it's a pretty informal interview, but you'll be asked to present your research project so far, or your research interest so far, and you'll also be giving a choice of some papers that and one of these you would have to read, and then you have to present on it. So tell what to see whether to what the paper's about, what you think of it, what are the strong points, what are the weak points. It's sort of a journal club type of thing. And what is actually the most important thing, and it's also what Niharika and Rita already referred to, is your motivation. We really would like to know why you want to join this program, and motivation is really key, because we work, as I mentioned, we work in a small group assignments. You can imagine you want everybody in that group, if you work on a single assignment, to be as motivated as you are, right? And so motivation is really key. After the interviews, there will be a selection, and the results of that will then be communicated. I think that will be somewhere in May, and then in early September, the academic year starts. So you may have the question, so this is all nice, seems nice, this MMIT program, but what can I do with it? So what are the career opportunities if you follow the MMIT program? So there are several. So I think most of our students, when they graduate, they move on to do a PhD project, either in Groningen or outside of Groningen, or anywhere in the world. But not all students pursue a PhD career. Some students go to industry, work in research and development there. Some students go to become science writer or an editor for a scientific journal, but also in policy advisor or strategic advisor. Our students found their path. So you can have a career within academia, but you can certainly also have a career outside of academia. So, for instance, in consultancy companies, in non-governmental organizations, policy institutes, knowledge institutes, you name it, and also everywhere in the world. And I think because we are such a have this close-knit international cohort, and you have so much experience to different people from different backgrounds and different cultures, you'll, I think, find it easy to fit in any lab and work with any type of people in the world. But that's of course what I say. But what is much more interesting to hear live from one of our students, Annemiek, who is an alumni. So she did the MMIT program, and I would like to give the floor to Annemiek and tell her a little bit about her story and where she actually ended up.
Oh, thank you, Sven, for the introduction. Yeah, so my name is Annemiek, and I'm currently a fourth-year PhD student at the UMCG. And I graduated the MMIT in 2020. And so what I hope to do today is by telling you a bit about my journey, to give you an example of how the choices that I made within the program, but also after the program influenced, my scientific journey so far. So on the left, you can see the cohort from 2017. So I think we were 19 people in the MMIT and then 5 in the IMEM program. So a nice small group that we worked extensively. We worked extensively together. We were all from different backgrounds, as already mentioned. So myself, I came from a bachelor in pharmacy that I did at the University of Groningen. And so the reason for me to choose the MMIT program really was that I figured out in my bachelor's that I liked pharmaceutical sciences, but I wanted to branch out a bit more also to the biomedical sciences. But since I was mostly in the pharmacy department in my bachelor, I was really unfamiliar actually with all the biomedical research going on at the UMCG. And so I wanted to explore it a bit more. And what really appealed to me in the MMIT program was that I would be allowed to explore all these different biomedical topics while at the same time really working on my skills. So with the setup of the program, especially in the first half year, each week would have a different focus where I would allow to explore the topic, but at the same time, right, like you would write about it or give a presentation about it. So really like focusing also on building your skills that I think are still beneficial to this day. So that for me was the main reason to choose the MMIT program. I, from the start, had no idea where it would bring me. I didn't know yet which projects I wanted to pursue, what my trajectory would be within science. So it's fun now to look back and see how the decisions influenced that. And I think, so in the middle, you see 2 images from this experimental technique course that we had in the first year. So I think on the left, we were studying a kidney from a pig, I think it was. And then on the right, we got also a nice tour in the animal facility, also, again, like in groups. So I think that is also super nice within this first half year. I think with almost anyone from my cohort, I either worked, in a one-on-one individual assignments together or in group assignments. So I think you work together with everyone in your group at least once. So that's also super fun. You learn a lot about teamwork. And I think it was in this course, the experimental techniques, that I was introduced to the lab that I'm currently doing my PhD in. So it's the group of Lisbeth Veenhoff in the IRIBA Institute. And she's working on the nuclear pore complex. And when she presented the topic that week, I was really interested. And I figured like this is what I want to do for my first project because it just seemed a lot of fun to me. And I think looking back, that really was that has impacted my journey from that point onwards. And it's also the group where I'm now doing my PhD. So I did my first project. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of freedom also to learn techniques, but also to give shape to the project. And then you start this this project, and you need some time to get really like into the project. And then after half a year, you're done, and you have to like finish it up and give it the project away back to the lab and to have somebody else work on it. And I really felt at that point like, that's a bit sad, because I want to learn more. I really like this project, and I want to work and explore it a bit further. So already then I was thinking like maybe for a PhD this will be actually a really nice project. But also I asked in that time my supervisor on the collaboration she had abroad, because I knew that I liked the topic and I wanted to explore something related for my second project. But also I wanted to go abroad, and so she gave me a list of collaborators that she was working with, and also the topics they were focusing on. And when going through that list, I realized that the collaborators in Yale University were actually a really good match to what I was looking for. And so using all these networks within the UMCG and also from my supervisor, I then decided to do my second project there. So that is what you can see on the right. So we did some fun things, experiments in the lab. It really looks like a fairy tale, Yale, or like this Harry Potter image of how the buildings look like and the vibes it gives off. And then on the bottom, it is the group. It was during one of the Christmas parties we had. And so I think what is really nice is that because the MMIT program by itself was already so international, and you had to collaborate already so much with people from different backgrounds, that now going to the US to this completely different lab environment, it was different, but it wasn't so difficult because you were already used to working with people from multiple backgrounds. So I think that is really like unique also about the MMIT program, and really beneficial in that sense. And what I think also really shaped my experience with the MMIT program is that oh, sorry, is that here? But I think also shaped my MMIT experience is that it really forces you to think about the project you want to pursue, right? So in this first half year, you have some courses that you do on assignments or on topics that maybe are not really appealing to you, or you're like, this is not really my topic, but that really also allows you to cross off things off your list, right? So in the beginning, I had no clue, but by following this first half year of courses, you really start to identify which topics really appeal to me and which do not so much. So that is also really nice on how the program is set up. But yeah, what I also thought about is like, how do the skills that I learned within the MMIT now apply to my job and apply to my PhD trajectory. So, on the left, you can see an image from our group. So that was in May 2022. And in the middle, they're not shaking now, but they are yeast cultures. So I work with yeast. That's what we use for our experiments. And on the right, there's a picture from a recent conference that we went to with the group. But I think it really trains you to become an independent researcher, and especially, for instance, think about how do you design your experiments, right? So within science, you do an experiment, you get a result, and then that opens up many new questions. And then you have to think about, okay, how am I going to answer these next questions? And this is really something within the MMIT program already you train a lot. So now that is really helpful to me to think about how to design a next experiment to prove my hypothesis. Interpreting literature, you have many assignments focused on that also in the MMIT program. I'm still using that today, right? You have to keep up with literature during a PhD, so it's really useful that I have those skills. Writing a review is what I've also already did in the program. I'm now working on my experimental paper, but that's also something that was covered within the program. And also the communication and the collaboration with others, I think the program really focuses a lot on, and it's really useful now. So you already meet people and PIs or professors like in your program, and you know their research lines, and that really allows you to think when you ever have a question related to somebody else's field, you can think, oh yeah, I knew that this person was working on that or doing this technique, so maybe we can actually reach out and collaborate. And that's also what we have been doing in my project. So for instance, I'm working now with a group in Zurich on a certain technique. And I also had the opportunity to go to Zurich to do some experiments there. So yeah, really this how you work with others and how you communicate about science, I think is super important skills that really help me where I am today. And also, I think, for instance, somebody from my cohort went to a governmental organization to work with the Zorg Instituut Nederland, for instance. So there also these skills, even if you're not like ending up in research after all, I think these skills are still super valuable and you can use them there as well. And then lastly, some tips that I would have if you're considering or if you are excited about the MMIT program, really have fun and explore. So I hope to have illustrated to you that in my case, I had no clue what I wanted to do, and I did end up in a place that I'm really liking. So have fun, explore. You have ample of opportunities to do a project on a topic that might be interesting to you, but you're not sure, or you can write like a 3-week study on a different topic. So really see what is out there, see what you like, and then try. It really helps nailing down also what your specific interests then in science are. Have fun. It's a master's program, but there's also a lot of time for fun things. So I think also in the previous presentations you've seen that, but we did a lot of drinks, for instance, like after finishing the assignment on Friday. So everybody would be relaxed. It would be weekend. We would do fun stuff. So there's definitely space for that. And also, everybody's super helpful. The professors are very approachable, so that is also really nice. Like if there's ever something that you want advice on, also like for instance on career advice, like how did you end up where you are now? The bar is super low for approaching people, so that is really helpful. And also your classmates, since everyone's from different backgrounds, well, you all contribute something unique, and I think that is very valuable. So that is what I wanted to say. Feel free to send me an email if you have any specific questions or during the Q&A after. Yeah, so thanks.
Thanks, Annemiek, and good morning, everyone. I'm Velthuis. I'm the study advisor of this program. So if you have any questions during this presentation, but also in the days after, feel free to contact me. My contact details are here on the slide. Before we go into the Q&A, I would like to emphasize that we have another event for you if you're still interested in joining our MMIT program and you feel like I would like to meet some students and alumni in a very informal setting. We have a meet and greet next week. For those who are not able to come to Groningen, we have an online version. You can book your spot by using the Q&A, which is on the slide. And there's sort of presentation from students, from alumni, a little bit like today, but well, there's more space to just be only with you, with the students together, to ask their questions, to hear everything from them honestly about the program. And I think Niharika and Rita and also Annemiek today told you a lot about their experiences and how enthusiastic they are about the program. So if you feel like I want to have more of that and ask them questions also more personally, feel free to join us. There's also an in-person version, so that's here at the faculty in the student hub, where the students have their student landscape, we call it. There's a lunch provided, so feel free to join us again there. And now I would like to continue to the Q&A session, and I will start with the questions in the chat. And if you have a question you would like to ask live, feel free to raise your hand and we can address it. And it's good to mention that we recorded this session, of course, like we mentioned in the beginning. But if you use your mic and video, the video won't be shown online when we upload the presentation. So you can freely use it without being online seen again. So let me see where we are. Starting up front with the question of Regina. We'll read it out loud. Does following the IMM track mean you follow extra courses, meaning you achieve more than 120 ECTS, or does it mean you follow fewer MMIT courses? Well, I think maybe Machteld, you would like to tell a bit more about this. I know the answer, but I think it's good to also show yourself. Are you still online?
Yes, can you see me?
Yep.
Hi everyone, I'm Machteld Hilkema. I'm the IMIM coordinator for the IMIM track. Indeed, for if you choose to do IMIM, and that is mostly in the second year, then you will have courses for 6 credits. So it means that you cannot do one elective and there's some research time that you will miss out. But you will get a summer school where we make teams to work on a research outcome, to bring that to a product. And that starts already in August. And then we continue in the 3rd semester with a 6 weeks course. It's not full time. You can also do another review writing assignment during the time, but during that time you work in teams and you will get workshops on decision making, business models, finance, marketing. So very different from what you would do if you would be doing research alone. And that finishes in end of November. With a venture lab weekend, we like to call that. It's a pressure cooker weekend where all teams come together, also teams from outside the UMCG, where they present their work on their product and present it to a jury. So it's 6 credits that you is worth the courses for entrepreneurship.
Thanks, Machteld. I'm continuing to the question of Demi. You're doing an HBO study now, and you're asking if you need a pre-master. It really depends on the HBO study you've done. So please send me an email so we can see what kind of courses you've done and if it's needed to do a pre-master. In some cases it is, but in some cases the HBO is enough also to enter the MMIT program without a pre-master. But like I said, it depends on your background. So please, my contact details are on the slide. So send me an email and we will have a look at it. Any other questions?
I think there's a question from Marie B. What sort of research project can we present during the interview? I think it can be basically any, because students come from very different backgrounds, and some may have had perhaps a experimental project during their bachelor's, but other students may have not, and they may have done literature projects or essays or whatever. So I think in the end, it's really up to you. And it's very flexible in what you present, let's say from whatever you have done before you enter the master program to present and discuss with the admission board.
Thanks, Sven. Good. Grady, you're asking how long are both research projects in weeks or in ECTS? I would say, but then the students or others can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's approximately 5 to 6 months. I think 5 months in total. Am I correct? I'm just checking if the others are nodding. Almost something like that. I think most start in February and it ends in June, July usually.
Yes, I think that's correct.
Yeah, because we also have a 3 weeks time to write the proposal for the project. So if we include that, it's completely a 6 months project.
Yeah.
So there's a place where we have to come up with the introduction to research project. So it's completely 6 months. Yeah.
So is your, yeah, okay, it's answered. Any other questions? Marie, what if I don't know which specialization I want yet? Well, first of all, it's not needed to do a specialization. There is an option to do it, as Sven explained, but you don't need to. You can also end your MMIT program having explored all kind of different directions. So that's important. And if you do feel like you want to go into a specialization, you have plenty of time during the start of the years to find out what you like by following particular courses. All the specializations are introduced in the beginning of the program. So there's lots of opportunities to find out while doing the program if you want to do a specialization or not. And it's entirely up to you to specialize or not. Both is fine. And Katrina, where should we upload the list of courses still to be completed from the bachelor's program in our application? Let me think. Where should we upload the list of courses still to be completed from the bachelor's program? I'm not sure if I can answer this immediately. If any of the others know, but I think this is more a practical thing. So maybe Sven, do you know this or no? Okay, so Katrina, maybe also for you, can you send me an email so I can find out the exact procedure for you on how to continue with your application? Thank you. So for everyone, if there are no questions popping up anymore, please continue if you have questions, but otherwise I would say for all the others who feel like they don't have questions and would like to leave, thank you so much for being here today. I hope you got all the information you needed to make a decision on whether MMIT is the program that suits you. If not, please contact me if you have any more questions. I can also get you in touch with our students or come to our meet and greet. And otherwise, we wish you a very nice day wherever you are in the world. And thanks for joining us.